Hey, I'm Dusti Martin with Platinum Living Realty. About 60% of my business comes from people relocating out of state who are trying to figure out the lay of the land, if you will, when they're trying to move to Arizona and either buy or rent. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you some tips and tricks, some little hacks that I use as a former teacher to help you find the best performing schools in the area that you're looking for, but also how to determine the map that you should be looking to rent or buy in if you want to be in that particular home. So buckle up, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start with the website called School Digger. I know that greatschools.org is tied to a lot of home search platforms, but unfortunately, I just don't like how they rank the schools because they weight the ranking and the opinion on a lot of how people feel about the school versus their performance. As a former teacher, I like to focus on performance, the end result, because unfortunately, if a community just loves Mrs. Johnson in the first grade, all they know is that they love that teacher and their child loves that teacher. They don't know what the overall test scores and rankings are really when it comes down to it. So I like School Digger because it's not rated on opinions. It's not rated on reviews. It's not rated on the amount of money they spend. It is rated solely and ranks schools solely on their performance. And you can see all the other breakdowns and stuff, but for me, I personally like being able to easily see which schools are performing and maybe which ones are not, or which ones are doing better than others within a school district. And then that way I can help make the best decision for my own students, and you can help make the best decision for yours. All right, so we're going to start at School Digger, okay? When you first get to schooldigger.com, you're going to see a big map. Some states actually syndicate and publish data for School Digger. Some don't, but Arizona does, so we're in luck. So we're going to click Arizona and find a school. All right, so then we're going to see this little drop down here, and we're going to start in Scottsdale. It's where I live, it's where I work, and you can see it'll map all of the schools, charter, private, traditional, public, you name it. They're all on here, whether they have test scores for them or not. One thing to keep in mind is that the test scores for private schools are not accessible to the Department of Education because they're not required to send those tests along. They probably do have their own tests. We have several really great private schools in the area. Unfortunately, that's not data we have access to. So for our purposes and to help determine the best neighborhood we can afford to get into, we're going to use public, regular, traditional public schools, not public charters, because in Arizona, we have a lot of school choice, and there are parents that will drive their kids all the way across town to get to that charter. So as a result, because those parents are more involved, those schools tend to rank much higher. But in terms of your home value and what's going on in the area, people usually want to buy in the best area that will maintain its ability for resale. So when you keep that in mind, we want to rank the neighborhoods, the school districts, based on just regular public traditional schools. Where you end up sending your kid is kind of irrelevant with school choice in Arizona, but if you're looking to get into the best areas, this is how you do it. All right, so we clicked Scottsdale, right? And then don't be fooled. You got to keep scrolling past the top. So largest Arizona districts, they'll sort them here. And then the largest Arizona state cities, that's nice. Don't care about that either. But we're going to come down to high schools, okay? And so then what we're going to do is we've already we're at the rankings basically for the entire state. And you'll see like all of a lot of our charter schools, some of which are the highest performing in the country, end up being ranked at the top. But we want to kind of sort those out. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in our city here, Scottsdale. I'm going to drop down and click this. All right. So, and then we want to see more than just the 10 best schools. And so automatically it goes and it rates Basis Scottsdale, Great Hearts, also a charter, Foothills Academy, also a charter, Desert Mountain High School. Now we're getting into the public schools. So what we can do is let's come through and see these little plus signs. You can actually come and check them as schools that you want to sort. And let's see here. Saguaro, Great Hearts is also a charter. Chaparral is a public one. Horizon is a public one, and Coronado is public one. Now, on the left side of your screen here, you're going to see their rank out of 285 high schools in Arizona. This is how the state ranks them, how they perform. So Basis Scottsdale, obviously the top, but like I said, it's a charter. People drive from all over the valley to take their kid there. So we want to weed that one out just in terms of figuring out a neighborhood. So then we come down. Desert Mountain High School is the highest ranked high school in Scottsdale. So we're going to click on that. All right. So it's ranked 52nd out of 285 Arizona schools. We can see their performance. We can see test scores, which is what I care about the most. But here's the important thing is you have the boundaries, and it will actually map the boundary for you. So if you buy anywhere in here, you are going to be on the bus route for that school. Now, a lot of public traditional schools have opened up enrollment to allow open enrollment. So if you can't get into that area, a lot of times, as long as the school isn't full, there's open enrollment, there's space enough to enroll your student and take them there. So keep that in mind. A lot of the charter schools do tend to book up quickly and have waiting lists. So those are kind of the early bird gets the worm. But for public schools, as long as there's space available, you can usually do open enrollment and enroll your student. And so anywhere, and see if we can, let's zoom in here. I think this is, I want to say the 101. Yeah. So east of the 101 up to Bell Road, and then down to this is roughly Via Linda, right? So it's this little pocket here that basically heads towards Fountain Hills, not up to Fountain Hills, but just towards it. So let's scroll out. So now that we know where the boundaries are, we can look at other things. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at all of the schools inside Scottsdale Unified. They have 19 primary schools, 5 middle schools, and 5 high schools, and 1 alternative charter school that is run by Scottsdale Unified. So if we look at the high schools, right, we've got these 5 high schools, and they are automatically going to map the entire district here. Right? This is the Scottsdale Unified School District. So when we look at Desert Mountain, right, we already did this a little bit. It'll even give you demographic data. It's not that important. Like I said, we're focused on the results. But what I like to do is go to that school district and then look at their primary schools. Okay, so we can see their primary schools, and since we already mapped it, we know that all of the elementary schools in this area are going to feed into Desert Mountain. We'll come down here. This one was Redfield Elementary. We're going to add him. Then we've got Cheyenne. We'll add that school, right? We're going to come up here, grab Desert Canyon, come down here, grab Laguna, and then we'll come over here and get Anasazi. So we've already mapped all that. So now we know what school is in, what feeds into Desert Mountain. So now we've got my schools up here. Okay. So then we want to see just my schools. All right. Okay. So now we have sorted out the best schools, right? So then we're going to click table. All right. So these are the schools that I generally follow. I follow Cactus Shadows because I'm in the Cave Creek Unified School District. It's close for me, and it's also very high ranking. It was just like a couple numbers down from Desert Mountain, as a matter of fact. So then what we're going to do is we are going to look at rankings. So you'll see the type of school here, the grades, how many children are enrolled, the student teacher ratio, which is important, and then the free and discounted lunches. To me, that's not as important or relevant, but I care about ranking. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to click ranking. So then it goes ahead and it automatically sorts the best ranking schools. So let's see here. We've got Anasazi, and then Cheyenne Traditional, and then Desert Canyon. So the best elementary school that feeds into the best high school, highest ranking high school in Scottsdale is Anasazi. So we go click on Anasazi, we can see test scores, which is what I care about the most, high reading scores, so on and so forth. You can see their rankings, how they rank, where they rank, the whole 9 yards. So then once you have that, then you've pretty much got it figured out. You can then go to the Scottsdale Unified District website, find up the boundary maps for each school, and voila, now you have your search area. All right, so that's it. It's really simple. Like I said, start with the high school, look at the public high school, not so much the charters. And then on top of that, like I said, drill down to not only the best high school, but then the best elementary that feeds into that high school. It's not where you start, it's where you end up. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions, give me a call, 480-717-9405, or visit my website at dustymartinrealtor.com.